So, you're a self-taught coder, or maybe you're thinking about becoming one. It can feel, well, pretty overwhelming, right? Like, where do you even start? In this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a clear, actionable roadmap, a step-by-step guide on how to learn to code as if we were all starting from scratch today.
Let's just start with this idea, because it's so powerful. The real magic of coding is just how accessible it is. You don't need a factory, you don't need a bunch of money for inventory. Nope. With just a laptop, the internet, and your brain, you can literally build something brand new, something that has never existed before. That's what we're here to do, unlock that incredible potential.
All right, before you write a single line of code, we have to talk about the most important part of this whole journey, getting your head in the right place. This isn't just some fluffy soft skill. It is the absolute foundation for everything else. So, what does it actually mean to think like a coder?
Well, it's kind of built on two ideas that seem to contradict each other. On one hand, you have to have this almost irrational level of belief. No matter what the problem is, no matter how impossible a bug seems, you have to truly believe a solution exists and that you can find it. But on the other hand, you need total, complete humility.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We've all been there, right? Yelling at the screen, convinced your laptop is broken or the programming language itself is bugged. But that moment, that exact second, you finally accept that the computer is just doing exactly what you told it to do and the mistake is in your logic. That's the day you really start to grow.
So how do you make this a habit? Simple. You make Google your absolute best friend for every single problem. Your parents might start to think you're some kind of tech genius, but you'll know the secret. You just believe the answer is out there, and you're stubborn enough to keep looking for it.
And that leads us to this really critical point. You are not learning to code just for the sake of coding. That's not the goal. You are learning to code so you can solve problems. The language, the syntax, all that stuff, it's just a tool, like a hammer. The real skill is looking at a problem, breaking it down, and figuring out how to build a solution.
So how do you practice that skill? Okay, hands down, one of the best free resources on the planet is Harvard's CS50. And I'm not exaggerating, it is literally an Ivy League computer science course for free. It gives you this amazing overview, exposing you to different languages like C, Python, and JavaScript, all while teaching you how to think like a true problem solver.
Okay, with that mindset locked in, now we can get to the good stuff, learning the actual craft of writing code. This is where we go from theory to practice.
We're going to break this down into a really clear three-step process. First, you're going to build a solid foundation by really mastering one language. Then, you'll learn to make the computer work for you with scripting. And finally, you'll put it all together and build a real working project. For that first language, my top recommendation is Python. Why? Because it's super beginner-friendly. It almost reads like plain English. And don't try to learn everything at once. Just focus on the big wins first. Control flow, your basic if-else logic, and loops. Then get the core ideas of object-oriented programming. You'll also want to get comfy with the two most useful data structures: arrays, which are just ordered lists, and hash maps, which work like a dictionary, letting you look things up with a key.
Now, once you've got those basics down, you start scripting. This is how you get your practice in and see a payoff right away. You got a boring task you do every day, like renaming a bunch of files? Write a script for it. You're not just practicing code anymore. You're solving your own problems. It's an amazing feeling.
And now for what is, without a doubt, the most important part. You learn by doing. The absolute best way to make all this knowledge stick is to build something. A great way to light a fire under yourself is to sign up for a hackathon. Think of it like signing up for a 5K race. It gives you a deadline and a really powerful reason to train.
But what do you build with? To stop you from getting stuck just choosing your tools, here's a fantastic starting recipe. It's called the MERN stack. For the front end, that's all the visual stuff the user interacts with. Use React. For the back end, the engine that runs everything behind the scenes, use Express and Node.js. And for your database, where you store all your data, use MongoDB. This stack is super popular, which means it's easy to find help, and it gives you really valuable full-stack experience. You know, writing code is one piece of the puzzle, but working like a professional developer, that requires a whole different set of tools. So let's shift gears and talk about building out your pro toolkit.
The first big mindset shift here is moving away from your graphical user interface, dragging, dropping, right-clicking, and learning to love the terminal. It might look a little scary at first, like something out of a 90s hacker movie, but using text commands to navigate your computer is so much faster and more powerful.
So, to start, just force yourself to use it. Get familiar with the basics like ls to list your files, mv to move them, and rm to remove them. And for writing your code, the best free tool out there, bar none, is VS Code. Just download it and start playing with extensions to make it your own.
Okay, next up is an absolutely essential tool called Git. So what is it? Think of it like a save button for your code, but on steroids. It lets you create checkpoints of your work, so if you mess something up, you can always just rewind back to the last time it was working. It's a lifesaver. And look, you do not need to become a Git wizard overnight. Just focus on the commands you'll use every single day. Learn how to pull the latest code, commit your changes to create a checkpoint, and push your work up for others to see. Honestly, that's 90% of what you'll need at the beginning. And if you need any extra motivation to learn Git, just let this quote sink in. This is a horror story. Losing hours or even days of work because you made a mistake, it's a rite of passage that you can totally avoid. So please, learn version control. Commit your code often. Your future self will thank you, I promise.
So, you've built the mindset, you've learned the craft, and you've got your pro toolkit. There's just one step left, turning all of that practice into a paycheck by getting ready to land your first software engineering job.
Now, when it comes to interview prep, a lot of people will tell you to get Cracking the Coding Interview. And look, it's a great book, but all the solutions are in Java. Since you've been working hard on Python, a much, much better choice is Elements of Python Programming. It lines up perfectly with everything you've already learned.
And what should you practice from that book? Well, technical interviews tend to focus on a few key areas. You need to be rock solid on your data structures. So arrays, hash maps, trees, and graphs, which are just different ways to organize information. And you need to know algorithms for working with them, like breadth-first search and depth-first search. You might not use these every day on the job, but I guarantee you will see them in interviews.
As we're wrapping up here, I want to leave you with this. Learning to code is a marathon, not a sprint. It's so easy to get frustrated or to only focus on that big goal of getting a job. But seriously, take a moment every now and then to look back and just appreciate how far you've come. You gotta celebrate the small wins along the way. So there you have it. The roadmap is all laid out. You've got the mindset, the tools, and a clear path forward. So there's really only one question left to answer, and it's the most exciting one of all. What are you gonna build first?